What up, guys? In this video we are finally building the miter saw station, giving us tons of storage to get things up off my floor and more organized, and to give us a place to break down material when it comes through the door. So let's get to it. So my thought with this whole thing is giving me tons of storage. I want a big, wide, deep bench so I can put wood up here. I can store pieces back here. I can store full 10-foot pieces back here and then pull them down when I need to cut them. It's mostly what I use is 10-foot material. I don't have a ton of extra storage space in this shop like I did in my other one, where I had the kind of the loft to get things up out of the way. So these cabinets are 36 inches deep, so it's just giving me a ton of space to put things away. Now for the dust collection on this, I didn't go crazy. I'm just using a shop vac. It's on the switch, so when I turn this on, the shop vac turns on as well. It's not the best. Maybe eventually I'll build some kind of shroud thing, but for now this is fine. I only am doing rough breakdown material here. I am not doing any finish cuts on my miter saw. I do all that on the table saw. So this is literally only for breaking down material. Let's get into it and I'll show you guys how I made this. All right, so I got this wall cleared out and I've got a little over 18 feet from the corner to there. Now, I'm always using 10-foot material. Obviously, I'll only be able to have 10 feet on one side of the blade, which I think is going to be the right side, because I like to throw the full piece up there, cut a little off the end, and then slide it down. So I just need to figure out where exactly the saw is going to go. And then I think all these are going to just be base cabinets with doors. And this is going to be storage of things like electrical stuff and just stuff that I don't use all the time. And then I think on the end here, I'm going to bring the countertop over into the corner and leave maybe like a 3-foot section for like scraps and cutoffs and whatnot. Because most of the time I end up, the stuff that's really small, giving away as like for firewood. So if it's right by the door, it's easy to throw in somebody's truck. So I think that's the plan. One thing that I don't have any outlets right here on this wall. I do have an outlet right down there in the corner. So I will have to run a cord over here for now. Eventually, I'll probably have an outlet put in because I have another small dust collector that eventually I'll want to use. Right now, I just use the shop vac underneath this thing. But I would like to integrate some kind of little fence system, not even just for with some measurements on it. I do not do any finish cutting at the miter saw. This is all rough breakdown. I'm not doing any finish cuts here. I do all my finish cuts on this slider. So it doesn't need to be perfect. It's mostly like when I'm chopping up door parts, I know I need, 5 styles or 6 styles at 36 inches. I can just slide it over and chop them and whatever. So that's kind of my idea with that. So nothing too complicated, just need to sketch this out, measure it, figure out exactly what I need, and we'll get it going. I'm going to just kind of put a box together and talk you through my construction method as we go here. This is also the way that I learned, so that's why I do it this way. And I see a lot of videos and stuff on YouTube, and you know, how to build cabinets the easy way and build your cabinet boxes the easy way. And then I watched the videos and I'm like, man, that really did not look that easy to build a box. So I think this way is pretty easy. It is literally just a box. There's no like, this is my side. I'm not bringing it down to the floor. I add feet to this, so I don't need to bring it to the floor and then notch it out for a toe kick. That all is kind of unnecessary. First of all, if you have this coming down to the floor, that means you have that whole side here that you're gonna have to shim. If your floor is a little bowed or something and it's gonna be rocking on it, if you just have 4 feet on here and 4 points of contact rather than 2 long ones, much easier to shim your cabinet and get it into place. I actually only use 2 feet in the front, and you'll see why when we install them. But yeah, just I have my sides and then my bottom, which goes in between, and then stretchers up top that go in between. So that's one of the reasons I build like this. Another is you're going to get a better yield out of your plywood. So if you're bringing your sides on a kitchen cabinet down to the floor, you're typically going to be 34 and a quarter, 34 and a half, something like that. So you're only going to get 2 cuts out of a full rip. Doing it this way, now this is obviously a weird cabinet because it's super deep for over there, but my sides are typically 30 and 3/4 because I'm only coming to here, and then I can get 3 cuts out of a full sheet. So you're going to get a better yield from your plywood. Second, that was the second. The third thing is it's just a lot easier. I'm not doing any dados or rabbets or anything like that. Literally butt joint, I tack it in with a brad nailer and then pre-drill and screw, no glue or anything. And then you'll see the back gets attached right on top of here and gets screwed around, and that squares up the cabinet. Why don't I do rabbets and dados and stuff like that? A lot of people talk about it being so much stronger. The cabinet's going to be so much stronger, and I would say that's debatable, because there's certain things, furniture pieces, stuff like that, where you want to dado in parts. I get it. A normal cabinet, kitchen cabinet like this, is it really stronger if you're taking out material here. So you take out 3/8 for that to slide in. Now your screw, when it goes in, you're only biting on 3/8 rather than 3/4. I would say that that is debatable, whether or not it's stronger. Second of all, I know doing it like this, my box is going to come out exactly the size I want. If you're running rabbets in here on the table saw, say your piece is bowed and you don't get even pressure pushing through that saw, and then your rabbet is not consistent along there. When you go to put the bottom into it, it might have a bow in the cabinet on the side. So that's another thing. And then especially with the back, I see a lot of people run the sides long and then they do a dado and then slide the back in. There's certain times you'll need to do that if I have like an exposed end panel on the cabinet, but it's kind of rare for me since the way I build like this, and then most of the time my end panels get attached to the outside, so this all gets covered. But even with that, even with that, when you go to put the back in, they say it squares up the cabinet. If you have your dado in there in your side piece for your back to slide in, what if your dado is not a consistent, you didn't get good pressure, and it's not a consistent cut? Second of all, what if your piece is bowed? How are you securing the back in there if it's just slid in? And you screw it into the top and bottom, I guess, but doing it this way, I know my back is perfectly square. So when I put it on here and nail it and screw it in, it's locking this cabinet in perfectly square. Another thing, like, see guys, dado and rabbet. If I had a CNC machine, yeah, I would probably have it cut rabbets and dados just to make assembly easier, right? If I have stretchers in the middle and all that kind of stuff, yeah, it would certainly make assembly a lot easier. But doing it on the table saw and all that, I think we over engineer our cabinet box construction. At least that's my opinion. This way is literally a box. Super easy, and these boxes are weird because they're super big, but super easy to make a cut list, super easy to not get confused with having a dado and a rabbet and how big do I make my stretchers now because I'm coming in 3/8 on each side and all that stuff. This is like pretty simple construction method. Not doing pocket screws everywhere, and not that pocket screws are bad for cabinet construction, but this way is it's just easy. You're literally building boxes, and we're not cutting toe kicks out and all that weird stuff. But to each their own. Everybody's gonna do things the way they want to do them. That's just kind of my two cents on the topic, because I see a lot of, and I get it, like if you're a hobbyist and you're watching YouTube videos and to learn how to build cabinets, like, and you see that stuff, that's how you're gonna do it. But there is an easier way, I think. And I'm using a tapered countersink drill bit into the plywood, so we're not splitting. You know, I always put my screws in at least an inch or so from the edge so we don't split the plywood. And that's just how these go together. So then I put a back on, 1/2 inch backs, and then you'll see I attach a 1/2 inch nailer on the outside of the box. And I'll show you, you'll see why when we go to install these on the wall over there. Very easy installation method, I think. At least it's worked really good for me for years. And everything gets screwed. I don't staple. See a lot of people glue and staple their backs and stuff on, and that's fine. I'm, you know, super strong as well. I've just always, I've always pre-drilled and screwed everything on. And these boxes are big and awkward and heavy. But it's the same idea as a kitchen. And so another thing on these, because these are shop cabinets, I'm just using what I have over there and cutting it up. But typically I would have on a job that's going out to a client, I have the grain on the backs going up and down so everything's consistent. And then like the grain on the sides, it all wraps around this way on the sides and bottom. So you're not opening the box and seeing like this grain's coming at you. The grain on the sides is going up. The grain on the back is going across. Everything is consistent. Because I want to put out a consistent product. I want people to know what they're gonna get. And so we just build a certain way. All right, so I pre-drilled all these. So like I said, the backs are 1/2 inch. So they all get pre-drilled and 1.25 inch screws. And then the cabinet boxes are all obviously 3/4. And they get pre-drilled with 1 5/8 screws. Then I've got 1/2 inch nailer, so I'll mark on the sides where these screws are so I don't hit them with my pre-drill. So then this nailer goes at the top. I'll just tack that on, and then I'll use 1 5/8 screws for this. So I make sure I'm getting into the cabinet box. And that's it. So I'll put the rest of these together, then I'll make the feet for it, and I'll show you guys that. All right, so I'm gonna make the cabinet feet. So I was using the plastic feet for a little while, the adjustable plastic feet, and those work good, but I definitely like the wood feet better. They're stronger, easier to attach toe kicks and stuff like that. So what I do, basically, I'm using Rue glue because this stuff is pre-finished. So I have 2 pieces that are 4x4 and then one that's 4x3 to make 1 foot. So I'm using the Rue glue. It's good for non-porous material. Like this pre-finished plywood. So you see that, and then the 4x3 piece goes on the inside to hold it nice and square. And it's 4x3 so that the foot sits on the box like this, and this is up 1/4 inch so that this is the only thing contacting the floor. I want 4, really it's 2 points of contact because I'm only putting feet on the front, and you'll see why when we go to install these. If I have like an island, I'll build like a ladder style toe kick, and I'll get that all level, screw it to the floor, and then just set the boxes on top. And then if I have like some big, tall pantry cabinets or something like that, I'll do the same thing just because it's just easier to do that rather than putting these feet on a big giant cabinet and trying to shim it and all that. It's easier to just set the toe kick and then do that. However, for just normal base cabinets against the wall, I do think this is faster. At least the install part is faster with this. Maybe it's not, I don't know. I just prefer this. So you can see there, that's the foot. So this will just get screwed into the bottom of the cabinet, and yeah, that's really it. And then my toe kick skin will get nailed to this after everything's installed. feet on the boxes and we're ready to attach these things to the wall. So the first thing I'm going to do is just set up my laser here, no specific height, and just check and find my high spot in the floor. Okay, so we definitely drop off over here. So I'll start from this end and I'm gonna go a little bit higher than, so I'm basically gonna attach this 1/2 inch nailer to the wall, and it's gonna be at the bottom of my nailer on the cabinet. So we're gonna go 31 1/4. I'll make that mark and then I'll set my laser to that height. So once this thing is installed, you'll see how easy it is to get my box attached. This obviously is a little harder to maneuver these cabinets just because they're so deep. But another thing when you're installing obviously is you got to check the wall and see what this thing is doing. Especially if you have an L, you want to make sure you're going to be square when you turn the corner and all that stuff. This is obviously pretty simple, it's just a straight run. So what I'll do here, I know this is perfectly level. So now you can kind of see why I don't have feet on the back. So I literally hook that on there and then I can bring my laser up now. I'll bring my laser up to get it on that back corner there. So I know I'm good back there, and then it's literally just shimming up the front. And that's it. This cabinet is sitting perfectly level. Now I do have another one going next to it, so I won't screw this to the wall yet. If these were smaller, I'd actually have them screwed together already. But if I have like a long run, you know, I won't screw this to the wall. I'll get them all hooked on, screwed together, and then shim at the wall where I need to. Like I said, make sure I'm all straight, make sure everything is good. And that's really it. The other thing about, now these are super awkward, but Euro style cabinets, with there being no face frame or anything on them, things can, not that they can't rack with a face frame on it, because they can, but really making sure that everything is good and level and plumb and all that is key, because Euro style boxes want to rack a little bit easier because there's nothing in the front kind of locking it down or holding everything tight. So yeah, you can kind of see there, these are sitting pretty good. Another thing I'll mention, so obviously we're a 1/2 inch off the wall here. Sometimes we end up being a little more if the wall is all wonky and I need to shim it. So I'll screw these in to the studs up here through the nailer, obviously on the inside of the box. And then I'll usually get, I'll shim it out where I can here, and just get a screw, at least one in the lowers down low, just to kind of lock that thing in. And then uppers are a little different because I'll actually do a nailer top and bottom. That way it's not leaning into the wall because there's no feet obviously underneath it. But yeah. It's a new day. I do have to add some cleats around here to support the countertop. This is, I'm gonna leave all open, like I said. So I've got this hatch here to get down into the basement or crawl space, and I'm gonna just put scrap wood here. I do want to upgrade my laser soon. This is like the cheaper DeWalt one. Works fine, but I would like to have the 360, like that Milwaukee one that came out. It's pretty sick. Oh, I get it. There's. These cabinets are really nice and deep, which is sweet because the saw is going to be pulled out a little bit, so it's not going to interfere with this. And then I want to have room back here to store lumber as well. I'll literally be able to, when I bring in a stack of wood, I can pile a bunch up right here, then pull pieces down and start chopping them up as I need to. So the countertops, obviously I'm going to have to piece this side because it's more than 10 feet. This side is it's only like 80. 79.5. I already got these pieces cut. See how bad this corner is back here. It's for a square. A little out of square, but I think I can live with that. Shop cabinets. All right, so we're almost there. I've got to set the saw, but first I'm gonna put doors on these. I'm gonna do them just like I did my other shop cabinets, just the pre-finish with the hole for the door pull. I'll round over the edges. And then I'm gonna even put toe kicks on this, just a skin to cover up that hole, because what I can't stand or couldn't stand in my other shop was I left them all open like this, and man, all the dust just gets blown under there. So I'd like to just be able to keep it clean. So, and that'll really be it. right, so the last thing we're gonna do to cover up this bottom so it doesn't get all filled with dust and everything get blown under there, and this is the same way I do in a kitchen. I have a 1/2 inch toe kick, so this is like the skin. So if this was a kitchen, obviously it'd be painted to match, you know, obviously the cabinets or stain grade, whatever. And I would just pin it on. This goes under and it'll just get pinned. On a kitchen, typically I'll use pin nails up high so you're not going to see them. I'm just using a brad nailer here. On a kitchen or something, say this was a dishwasher opening here, I would have a filler in here as well, coming all the way down like 6 inches deep or so. So when you open the door, you don't see the side of the cabinet or screws or anything. And I wouldn't be putting a toe kick piece going back. The toe kick filler would come down and the toe kick would just butt into that. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope maybe you learned something. I tried to do this like I would build and install my kitchen cabinets or any kind of cabinet really. And yeah, that's my install process, my build process. This is obviously a little bit different with the depth of these cabinets and stuff like that, but you get the general idea. One other thing that I will do, I will add some measurements along here just to make breaking down material a little bit faster so I don't have to pull out my tape measure and everything. I don't need stops on this because I think I said it multiple times, this is just for rough breakdown. Yeah, that's really it. We'll get stuff that's spread all around my shop, kind of put away and get this thing nice and set up. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you on the next one.